It's the Fade 5 Podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets, you jackwagons. We're back. It is indeed the Fade 5 Podcast presented by Suavecito Tequila. Go to local Tono Wine and more right now and pick up a little of that love juice. Sit back, relax, and wager life savings on the CBI Championship like yours truly. I'm Brad Evans, joined by the good sir Nathaniel Lundy. We are on the verge of tasting some sweetness in the NCAA Tournament. Night one of the Sweet 16 commences on Thursday. I've got action on every single game, naturally. You can always check out my spreadsheet, Lundy's spreadsheet, all of our free picks, always transparent and always accessible on social media with Lundy at Nate Lundy and myself at Noisy Huevos. With that on the tee, Lundy, let's step up with a big bertha in hand and smash a 300-yard drive right down A Avenue and flash forward to the future in this NCAA tournament with the field reset. The final 16 teams remaining. You, good sir, what is your favorite future available right now on the various sports books?
I continue to be surprised, my friend, that just to make the Final Four, you can get Texas or UConn at plus 200. They don't even have to make the championship game. All they got to do is get out of this weekend at plus 200. That's silly. That's silly to me. I mean, I get it. I understand why you've got Bama up there. I understand why you look at the odds and you see Houston up there. Both of them at minus numbers. I understand the Vols being at a plus 150. I understand Creighton even locking into that mix because of how the Jays are playing right now. But you can get Texas or UConn at plus 200. Brad, that's weird. That's weird. I like both of those teams at 2-1 odds.
You and I are very much on the same wavelength here, specifically with one team. Mush! Huskies! Mush! Plus 210, as a matter of fact, right now. So even better get seduced by that juice at DraftKings. Just to give you, for comparison's sake, the other teams of the West region, their odds to make Houston and the Mecca of college basketball there in the Final Four. UCLA, same odds as the Huskies at plus 210. Gonzaga at plus 240. And Arkansas, the long shot, at plus 550. But to give you some sound reasoning, statistically speaking, there is no team over the last 30 days that has been more efficient overall, according to Bart Torvik, than the UConn Huskies. They are number one during that stretch, number 9 in EFG offense, number 50 in EFG defense. They're generating a second chance, a whopping 41.4% of their possessions. And Lundy, I tell you what, I'll just add a little twist to this. In that game upcoming for the Huskies against Arkansas, they could be tied. They could be down maybe a couple of points at halftime. If that is indeed the case, for the love of the gambling gods, break out the sledgehammer and hammer it home the Huskies on the second half, because they have been marvelous. And tailing them has been a moneymaker after halftime here in the NCAA tournament, and that could indeed be the case yet again. So whether on UT, whether on UConn, value is still on the board in the futures markets with both those squads making the Final Four. With that on the board, let's get after it here with another edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
All right, numero 5 on the countdown today. These are all night one of the Sweet 16 matchups, and I'm going to do Kansas State on the over 68.5. Total points scored minus 110 at DraftKings. I think this could be a fairly high-scoring affair between them and the Michigan State Spartans. Why? Kansas State, a team that is number 41 in tempo over the last 30 days in college basketball, and they have been burning the nets during that stretch, shooting a miraculous almost 60.5% inside the arc, and an equally magnificent well north of 30% outside of it. So a team that's really getting after it off the bounce. They've been somewhat erratic from distance, but Marquise Noel is shooting from remote islands right now in that anywhere close to that region, like thousands of miles away, and still splashing at home. Just limitless range. Keontae Johnson's really played well. And Sills is another guy that's played an A game to boot. Now, you look at Kansas State, number 132 in EFG defense, but that really doesn't matter here. No, those their downside in rebounding, which is 200 plus over the last 30 days in offensive and defensive rebounding percentage. But the other important factor here is consider how woeful Michigan State has been defensively. Yeah, they're winning games, but over the last 30 days, only number 302 in college basketball in EFG defense. So knowing their vulnerabilities, knowing as well that Kansas State is tickling the twine early and often, and the fact that Marquise Noel bringing that street ball game from the NYC to this NCAA tournament and just lighting fools up, I think it's going to continue yet again. So I think they're hitting at least 70 points in this matchup. And that's why I'm going with K-State over 60.5 total points, minus 110 at DraftKings. Good sir. Fade or follow.
Give me all the points. Brad, when is Izzo going to stand on the sideline shirtless? That's what I want to know.
Do we really want to see him shirtless? I'm open for maybe like a Mick Cronin.
I didn't want to freaking see Musselman, and I had to endure.
I have already.
I had to endure that BS. And so, do I really want to see Izzo? No, but I mean, we've seen Kelvin Sampson. We've seen Eric Musselman. Apparently, it's just a thing now in college basketball to just rip off your shirt like you're a WWE star and stand on the sideline and either conduct the band or get the fans going. So I want to see K-State scoring some points in this one because let's keep Izzo's shirt on.
And I'm going to keep my shirt on because I ain't losing that bet. And the shirt off my back. K-State over 68.5 total points.
Number 4.
All right. Well, this is all about correlating, synergizing, bringing it all together. If we're on UConn, it only makes sense that they're going to win their next matchup and get one step closer to the Final Four there in H-Town. So let's do an SGP on this one. I'm going to take UConn on the money line. Just get the dub and then survive advance. And I'm going to take the over on 131.5 against the shirtless Musselmans at plus 105, available at DraftKings. I think UConn is a team, again, they're playing at such an elite level right now. As I already digressed, number 1 in Bart Torvik over the last 30 days, number 9 EFG offense, number 15 EFG defense, and getting all those significant second chances and making the most of them. So Nogo is a monster in the middle, really an uncontainable beast right now. Arkansas, a team that's only number 231 in their last 8 games, an EFG offense shooting a miserable 47.5% inside the arc. Better defensively, but not shut down. Number 123 in EFG defense over that stretch. And most importantly, number 183 in defensive rebounding. So if they're not blocking out, if they're not at least playing even Steven on the glass with UConn, it's going to be a spectacular Sonogo game as a result. So in total, UConn on this SGP money line and the over 131.5 plus 105 at DraftKings. Lundy, fade or follow.
Rock and roll. I like UConn on the money line. I already told you about what I feel about those futures you can get right now between the Huskies and the Longhorns. I mean, folks, bet on both of them. I legit think Texas can beat Houston if it comes to that. So that's why I like the idea of the Longhorns. But this one, in terms of the total, Brad, the folks that you and I follow, whether we talk about Bart Torvik, we can talk about others. There are plenty of folks that have this total in the low 140s.
Yep.
So this is a game, and part of the reason why I think this is going to be a frustrating game for some people to watch if they if certain things bother them. And what I mean by certain things are watching free throws, because these two teams both know how to get to the line. They know how to force that issue, and I would think we could see that a lot in the second half. And so I think this may be a really an exciting game to be able to watch. But then I think what's going to happen is we're going to go through these slow periods where we are just constantly sending dudes to the line. And if that happens, that's part of the reason why I like the over. I kind of like the over by itself, which if I remember right is at what, 139.5, I think.
Yep.
Something right around there. I like that total by itself. So we already talked about the fact I agree with you about UConn. I like UConn on the money line. And the fact that you're buying yourself an 8-point cushion of a game that I think is going to beat this total by 10, great OGP at plus odds.
Oh, get baby seduced by that juice on this UConn mush, Huskies mush, OGP.
Number 3.
All right, marching on. Let's get some money line action here on the board. Now I'm going to take the Gonzaga Bulldogs straight up against the UCLA Bruins. McCronin and friends there, plus 115. Outstanding juice right now at BetMGM. I think the Zags are going to march on here in the NCAA Tournament, make it to the Elite Eight. A team over their last 7 games, over the entirety of college basketball, number 3, according to Bart Torvik's analytics, specifically number 1, numero uno in the country in effective field goal percentage. Offense, they're also number 1 in adjusted offensive efficiency, netting a ridiculous 1.299 points per possession, shooting over 60% from 2-point range because it's all about Timmy. Drew Timmy time there inside the arc. A team too, that's improved a little bit defensively by the very, very low standard. Number 174 in AFG defense during that stretch, allowing just 46% inside the arc. Where they're getting hurt is outside of it, allowing 38.2% along the perimeter, but generating a lot of second chance opportunities. Nearly 35% of their possessions over the last 30 days. You look at UCLA, a team that's been outstanding and in advanced metrics for the entire year, but in their last 30 days, number 195 in college basketball in effective field goal percentage. Defense is the name of their game, number 40 in EFG defense, but they've struggled on the glass, and I think this is the game where they're sorely going to miss Jalen Clark, who I feel is the nation's best defensive player. He is out for the rest of the season. When you're going against the elite of the elites offensively in Gonzaga with all of their weapons, whether it's Strother, whether it's Bolden, whether it's Timmy, whether it's Anton Watson, they just keep coming at you in waves, and a lot of those shots are going to be falling in this game. So as a result, you got to feed some bacon strips to the Bulldogs on the money line against UCLA, plus 115 at BetMGM. Fade or follow.
Oh, man. I'm thinking.
Processing
Smoke coming out of my ears. I like this at plus odds. I do agree with your assessment that I think this is going to be the biggest game and the biggest test for the Bruins without Jalen Clark.
Yep.
I think this is going to be the big test for them. I'm just not 100% sold yet on this Gonzaga team. I'm not. I feel like we still saw a team that defense was a weakness for them as they went throughout the season. I was actually at Ball Arena on Sunday night. I watched the round of 32 contest for Gonzaga, watched Creighton as well, saw it in person. They looked good, but every now and then you could see it on the court. They had defensive lapses. And so that's part of the reason why this one makes me a little bit nervous, is because, yes, you are missing arguably the best defensive player in all of college basketball, but Gonzaga has also shown some weaknesses, and it's not just one person on the Zags. It's kind of everybody that doesn't exactly play the tightest of defense. So I like this at the plus odds. I would rather take some points or maybe decide to OGP this like we've done with a bunch of the games as we've gotten ready here for the Sweet 16. But I see your argument. I like the plus odds. I'm going to let you get seduced by the juice. I'm probably going to look more at an OGP, take Gonzaga up a few on the plus, on the points, mess around with the total, and try to see if I can't double up my money.
Oh, flying that team. Reasons flag is Lundy. Have the Huevos, my man. Wager on the Zags.
Number 2.
All right, my favorite bet, just standard old-fashioned against the spread here in the Sweet 16 is Tennessee -5 against FAU. And, this just said at tape time, it's up to 5.5 at BetMGM, and I think at every single book that's out there. So it's been kind of jostling back and forth between the 5, the 5.5, and I still think at 5.5, it is a supreme play against the Hootie Hoo Owls. And the reason being is that, look, I have dogged Tennessee repeatedly this year because I've said, hey, they can't score the damn basketball, but they have survived because of one reason. And that reason is clearly their defense, and truly elite in that category. In their last 8 games, number 65, very respectable ranking, an EFG offense, and number 9 in EFG defense, team on the adjusted defensive efficiency ranks, giving up just 0.898 points per possession. On the offensive side, they're shooting 54.3% in their last game, 8 games inside the arc, and 36% flat outside of it. So if that ability to, splash baskets inside or outside continues to match with their defense, they're not only going to win this game, they may win the whole damn region and make it to the Final Four in the bitter end. The plus rebounding team, and they really slow things down. This is a typical contrast of styles matchup. Tennessee, over the last month, number 313 at adjusted tempo. FAU, top 150 in that category, and a team number 49 EFG offense, also very good defensively. In fact, one spot higher than the Vols have been over the last 30 days, ranking number 8 in EFG defense. But I don't think they have faced quite the caliber of a team yet of the Tennessee Volunteers, who are like a root canal. It's just painful to sit and endure what you have to experience over 40 minutes, and that is certainly going to come to fruition. So Tennessee -5 or -5.5 against the Owls of FAU, -110 at BetMGM. Lundy, fade or follow?
Fade.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking FAU, man, plus the points. You're talking about a team that's won 9 in a row. They're 22-11-1 against the spread this season. I think the Vols win, but I think this thing comes down to the final 45 seconds. I don't have the same confidence you do. I know this is one of your favorite bets, folks. If you pay attention to the spreadsheet, this thing like practically auto-populated on Brad's spreadsheet when the line came out. This is one of the first bets that Brad put up for the round of Sweet 16. So I knew how much he liked this one at 5.5, which is what I saw it at BetMGM. I'm rolling the other way. I'm going to say with a team that has covered 2/3 of their games this season against the spread, I'm going to say that FAU does it yet again. I say they lose, but I think they cover. I think this might be the best game of the night.
Ooh, muy interesante. VOLS! Don't let me down.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno, bookending it with another wager on Kansas State. And this time we're going to do a little SGP/OGP. So maybe, Lundy, come with me on this play. I'm going to take K-State up to +6.5, and I'm going to take the over on 130.5. And again, correlate, synergize, and bring it all together. I also took the over, my first bet of the board of the podcast today, on 68.5 team total points. So it all makes sense. Maybe you add that as another leg to your parlay to get it even juicier than the +100 you see on your screen, available at DraftKings. Again, I think the Sparty party is going to run out of beer here in the end. I know it's Fascism Izzo. I know it's March. A lot of people feeding into that narrative. You can't fade them. They're going to make the Final Four. It seems inevitable. But I think Kansas State is grossly underrated on the national scene. I gave you all the statistical evidence earlier. Let me repeat thyself. Their last 7 games, number 41 EFG offense, again, shooting 60.5% inside the arc. And with Noel's ability to create and to hit some of those long-distance bombs, pretty good defensive team, playing up-tempo style. Both teams not outstanding in rebounding. I just think K-State's got more firepower offensively, and scoring is fundamental to basketball last I checked. And with Michigan State's, reluctancies playing defense, as I mentioned before, number 302 EFG defense of last month, K-State gets the cover here, and we build a nice little cushion at +6.5. And again, with the speed of this game being more up-tempo, I love the over on the alt line, taken down to 130.5. So, Lundy, my top play, SGP/OGP, the Wildcats of K-State +6.5, and the over 130.5 +100 at DraftKings. What do you think?
Well, here's the only thing that makes me nervous about this one. You're talking about a Kansas State team that has managed to be over in 4 out of their last 5 games, but you got a Michigan State team that's hit the under 3 times in a row. Like something's got to give here
Right.
between the way they're playing in the over under. I think it leans itself to an over tempo. I like K-State plus the 6.5. I like that leg. The total, meh.
I
Uh,
altered the total down to build
I
it a
know you
little
did.
cushion, man.
I understand that you did. I can see that, dumbass. I know what you did. I'm just telling you, I get a little nervous about the total. I do like this one. There's part of me that kind of wants to play and bring that number, give myself a little bit more of a cushion, just because I don't trust the over under in this game. But I do think their pace is going to force it. So I'll roll with you, because I'm all about OGPs today. I've already built like
Yeah, me
3 of
too.
them. I think I've done 3 in the NBA already for the action on this Wednesday night. Like I'm OGP, and like I'm all over the place right now with OGPs. So just keep bringing them up. I'm good. I'm good. I like
All
it.
right. Well, build the damn bankroll with the OGPs and maybe some of these selections. And bonus time. Lundy, we're taping this podcast on a hockey hump day. So naturally, I know you got some wagers on the ice, and I've got some additional action in the lesser college basketball tournaments that are out there. But I give you the floor, good sir.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. It's actually it's kind of fun that it's a hockey hump day, because this is when they've been putting the NHL on TNT, and so they've got a couple of the games that are being shown nationally. The problem is, in doing that, the NHL has basically decided not to schedule anything else, because they're trying to shine the spotlight on TNT. So there's only 2 flipping games tonight. One of them is in my backyard. The Penguins will be here to take on the Avs. The nightcap is the Arizona Coyotes, who, by the way, all of a sudden have figured out how to win hockey games. They are on the road against Edmonton. So we're going to do a couple of things here. First of all, I'll take Colorado on the money line. They're on fire right now. They've won 6 in a row. They're starting to look like the defending Cup champs again. They're getting hot at the right time. So I am going to take Colorado on the money line at home against Pittsburgh, and then I'm going to do the same with Edmonton at home against Arizona, even though I think the Yotes are going to give them a little bit of a challenge. If you put both of those together on the money line over at DK, it's a minus, but it's a minus 104. So we almost got rid of all of the juice. Part of the reason for that is that Edmonton is big time favored in this one, and so that's part of the reason you're not getting quite as good as we would normally get on a 2-leg money line. But again, I like the Avs and I like the Oilers. The Oilers have won 6 of 7, but watch out, because the Yotes have won 6 of their last 8. So on top of that, because there's not a lot, let's do a 2-leg player prop parlay for you.
Yeah.
Try saying that 3 times fast. We just need a point out of each of these guys. Evgeny Malkin for Pittsburgh, again on the road here against the Avs, and we're going to pair him up with Clayton Keller of the Arizona Coyotes. If you've been following the spreadsheet or following some of the stuff I've been doing on UBet tonight, you know that we've been betting a lot on Clayton Keller. Why? Because he's on a 9-game point streak. Dude has 7 goals and 10 assists over the course of that 9 games. He is one of the biggest reasons that Arizona has won 6 of their last 8 contests. So we're going to take Clayton Keller to stay hot. We're going to toss in Evgeny Malkin into that mix as well for a point. If you put both of those together, it is a plus 108 over at DraftKings. And finally, I'll leave you with an NBA player prop. We saw him drop 57 against Minnesota on Monday night. I like Julius Randle to go over on his points plus rebounds tonight at a total of 34.5. It's juiced slightly at a minus 125. The Knicks are on the road taking on the Heat. Remember, New York's actually got a better record on the road than they do at Madison Square Garden this year. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to take him for the over on 34.5. Earlier this month on the road against Miami, he had 52 combined. He had 43 and 9 boards. So I say he's going to do it again against this Miami team in a game that I think has a good opportunity to hit the over that hits at the 224.5, by the way, if you like that one as well. They've been over in 4 out of their last 5 meetings. But my favorite player prop is to actually jump on that one with Julius Randle. Again, 34.5 combined points plus rebounds. I got that at a minus 125 over at DK. Shop around a little bit, because part of the reason you're paying the juice in that one is because it's at 35.5 at some of the other books. So I'm willing to pay the juice to get it down to the 34 just in case. So that's what I've got on this Wednesday night. I yield the floor. What's up, my man?
Well, greed is good, according to Gordon Gecko and maybe myself. Here's the Team Huevos parlay play of the Sweet 16 night one, all the teams that I featured, all the teams that I'm leaning on, whether with a spread or straight up, if you parlay them together, so Kansas State, Gonzaga, UConn, and Tennessee, just to win, just to advance on a bracket line. Look at that. Oh, my God. My shoulders can't get high enough, Lundy, at plus 929 at DraftKings. So, yeah, a little sprinkling for yours truly there if you like a big payout on the Team Huevos parlay play of the day. It's certainly Huevos Gigantes. Elsewhere, bonus time. We've seen some massive line movement in the CBI final. It is between Eastern Kentucky taking on the Charlotte 49ers. This morning, I woke up, rubbed the sleep out of my eyes, and immediately saw the total at 138, and I smashed the under on that 138. The total now at tape time at DraftKings, 134. That's how far it has fallen, and I still like the under. Why? EKU has played 3 games in 3 days. Every single one of those games has gone for at least one overtime. Last night against Southern Utah, they played a double overtime game that had a total of like 210. Both teams were in the low 100s. You got some wobbly legs? You a little tired? You need some nap time? I think it's going to come into play here for Eastern Kentucky against a Charlotte team that has played decent defensively. Number 117 EFG defense over their last 8 games. But most importantly, the 49ers, number 340 in college basketball on adjusted tempo over the last month. They're going to slow this sucker down. That is a contrast in style for EKU, given how tired and probably exhausted they are. I think they're going to come crashing back down to earth in what could be a low-scoring title game down there in Daytona. So, again, I'm going to take the under at 134 on EKU and Charlotte in the CBI final. Elsewhere, we got some NIT action. The NIT's been just pillaging my bank account, but screw it. I got a little 2-leg alt liner. I'm getting back after it. I'm going to build in some safety here. I'm going to take UAB plus 5.5 in their road matchup against Vanderbilt. And I'm going to take Utah Valley, who is at home against Cincinnati. I'm going to take that line up to plus 3 because right now they're 1.5 point favorites, depending upon where you look. I think UAB, they played outstanding basketball over last month, number 22 overall in Torvik. They got Jelly Walker, one of the best scorers in the nation, and very good defensive team as well. Number 55 EFG defense, get a ton of second chance opportunities. Vanderbilt has played good basketball here of late. Top 65 in EFG offense, EFG defense, but number 230 plus in offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding percentage over the last 30 days. Again, those second chances are going to wreak havoc for the Commodores in this game. So that's why I like UAB plus the points on that alt line. And the Utah Valley's at home. This may be the biggest game in that university's history. You look at the Valley, number 41 of Bart Torvik the last 30 days, and Lundy, number 12 at EFG offense and number 12 at EFG defense. You want to talk about balance? They are the epitome, the definition of it right now. A team that loves to fly. They're 10-1 straight up at home. They're taking on the Bearcats in Cincinnati. Number 104 at EFG offense, number 68 EFG defense in their last 7 games. So I think ultimately Utah Valley is just playing better ball. It's going to be a rowdy and raucous crowd there all day. I'm taking the Valley, but I'm taking it up to plus 3.
I hate Utah Valley. Utah Valley cost me a $2,200 parlay, so they can F off. I don't like them. I don't want to have anything to do with them. Here you are trying to give them props. And by the way, take them -1. I think they're going to win. But screw them, because I was like ready to go to Cabo. And you know, that died pretty quickly thanks to Utah Valley. So they're dead to me, Brad. They're dead to me.
Yeah, you were drinking more of the Pepe Lopez instead of the Clase Azul as a result. But plus 138 on UAB.
I was drinking straight sewer water is what I was drinking.
Which you never want to do in Mexico. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
again, 2-leg alt line, UAB plus 5.5, Utah Valley plus 3, plus 138 is the juice at DraftKings. And then one last play for you. I like Jared Vanderbilt of the LA Lakers on the over 7.5 rebounds against the Phoenix Suns, a guy that's averaging 26.2 minutes per game here in the month of March. He's hit the over in 5 of his last 8 on this 7.5 rebounds prop. And I know Phoenix, pretty good rebounding team, but they rank more middle of the pack, 13th fewest opponent rebounds per game over the last 10. But still, it's all about the opportunities and the minutes played. I think Vanderbilt's going to snag at least a snowman in rebounds in the box score. All right, we're out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast. Would you do us a favor kindly and drop us a rating and a review if you enjoy this broadcast? Also, fade or follow us on the Twitter. You can follow Lundy at Nate Lundy. All his free spreadsheet picks. I do the same exact thing at Noisy Huevos. For Nate Lundy, I'm Brad Evans. Until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you.
Screw you, Utah Valley.